Our book buying ban is officially over, so I went to the bookstore twice and I've got a lot of books to show you. Also, I did get a really cool package from one of you guys, so we're gonna dig into that as well. But first, the books. So let's take our first trip to the bookstore. Bookstore, but I wanted to pick up this flavor of Olipop. I saw these last year, and like apple juice and apple cider are like my favorite drink flavor, so I've been wanting to try this for over a year. Our stores like didn't have them, so we finally got them. These were literally the last two in the store, so I wanted to taste test it with you guys. I don't know if it's like worth the year wait, but it is very good. On this first trip, I did actually have a couple of books in mind, neither of which I ended up getting on either trips. Those books were Lady Macbeth and, ooh, what was the other one? I don't even remember what the other one was, so there's that. I really love like the cover of Lady Macbeth and the fact that the actual hardcover itself is like hot pink, and the story does sound cool, but I just feel like it's one of those things that like I know if I buy it, it's gonna sit on my shelves for a long time, so I decided not to get it, and instead I got this stack of books, which I hope I'll read a lot sooner. This first book that I have is also another new release that I kind of in a way got instead of Lady Macbeth. The book was just so pretty in person that I could not pass it up, and then also the story itself sounded like something that I was more likely to read sooner than later versus Lady Macbeth. I hope that makes sense. I really didn't need to justify it to myself because I got so many other books that it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but in my head this was like the first book that I picked up, so I needed to kind of justify it because it wasn't on my list, you know? Anyway, the book is The Stars Are Dying by Chloe Peñaranda? Peñaranda? I cannot say the last name, I'm so sorry. This book is freaking gorgeous. I love a metallic touch on a dust jacket, a hardcover, what have you. Love the metallics. But also it has these like really pretty sprayed edges that go like all the way around. A lot of times I feel like when the sprayed edges have actual like decorative elements to it, it never really goes, when you get them from the bookstore anyway, it never like continues on to the top and the bottom. This one does, and I love me some like galaxy stars and things like that, so these are probably some of my favorite sprayed edges that I've gotten. The end papers are also kind of like a metallic gold color, which is super pretty, but the hardcover itself has some art on it. I love a printed hardcover. This is so cool. And then on the back cover there is a quote as well. It says, when falls night, I feel like it should be when night falls, the world will drown in starlight. I don't know if that's a typo or if that's supposed to be like that. Maybe I'm missing part of the sentence that'll make that make more sense. But either way, super cool. This one is about Estrella, I think is the girl's name, and it says that she's a prisoner of her own mind and she's looking to find her clouded memories. And it says this quest leads her to Libertatum, a succession of trials hosted by the king in which 5 human lands compete for a cycle of safety from the vampires seeking blood, claiming souls, and savaging after dark. So this has trials in it. There's vampires. That is all I need to know. Very excited for this book, and I definitely think I'm gonna read it probably very soon. I don't know if I'm gonna actually read it in October because October has gone by so fast. I have gotten nowhere with my October TBR hardly, so probably will not be reading this in October, but I feel like it's very likely for November. Next up, I have this book that I honestly completely forgot that I got. Here's a Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. I feel like a couple other books by Allison Saft, neither of which I've read yet, so I really hope I like this author because I'm just collecting her books left and right. The cover of this is so stinking pretty. Whoever does the cover art for her books is doing a fantastic job. This one says, a sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder in this lush and enthralling sapphic fantasy romance. So this is also a sapphic romance, which I don't think I've really read before, so I'm pretty excited about that as well. Next up, I have a couple of other like random grabs. These ones I do remember though. I don't know why I've never really noticed this before, but YA books are significantly cheaper than adult books. And I don't think I've ever picked up a YA book that I didn't like, especially when it comes to like fantasy and things like that, which I think is really the only YA books that I've grabbed. So I grabbed a couple because they were inexpensive. This one was $10.99, this one was $11.99. You can't beat that. So this first one is called The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, and it says these sorority girls are real witches, and this is basically about a sorority of witches. This is another one that had a really cool cover, and it's kind of like what initially drew me to this book, but the idea of a sorority just in general is really appealing, but the fact that they're also witches, I cannot wait to read this. This one I'm going to try my best to squeeze in this month. I think it just would be really fun. And then the other one that I have is gonna be a little bit of a tongue twister. I don't know what it is about words for me, but if one word or like the ending of a word is very similar to the beginning of the next word, my mouth does not want to make the sounds that it needs to make. For example, things like fish, sandwich, I cannot say those two words together unless I say them exactly like I just did. Like I can't just say it, I have to like think about it. So I'm gonna say this one slow. The thousandth floor. Also just a thousandth. That's a weird word just in general to say, I feel like. Anyway, enough about my inability to speak. I've literally never seen anyone talk about this book, but it is the first book in a series. Like there was 3 or 4 different books on the shelf. I only got the first one for now just because I want to make sure that I like it before I buy all of them, but I've got high hopes. It sounds really interesting. Welcome to Manhattan 2118. So it's also in the future. 100 years in the future, New York is a city of innovations and dreams. Everyone there wants something, and everyone has something to lose. Letta's flawless exterior bellies a secret addiction to a drug she never should have tried and a boy she never should have touched. Eris's beautiful, carefree life falls to pieces when a heartbreaking betrayal tears her family apart. Ryland's job on one of the highest floors sweeps her into a world and a romance she never imagined. But will this new life cost Ryland her old one? Watt is a tech genius with a secret. I love the fact that he's a tech genius and his name is Watt. He knows everything about everyone, but when he's hired to spy for an upper floor girl, he finds himself caught in a complicated web of lies. And living above everyone else on the thousandth floor, I just can't say that word in general, is Avery Fuller, the girl genetically designed to be perfect, the girl who seems to have it all, yet is tormented by the one thing she can never have. This just sounds so good. I feel like all of those people's stories are going to kind of intertwine with, like, one of the boys that the first one never should have touched is probably going to be one of the other boys that is mentioned, and the upper floor girl that Watt is hired by is probably one of the girls that was mentioned. So I think they're all going to be intertwined, and that just sounds really cool. Also, the fact that they're in the future sounds neat. Also, this one does have a cool cover as well, and specifically I thought the spine of the books looked really cool because it shows the building that they're in, and each of the other books in the series have a different building, I believe, or it's the same one but it's like different colors. I don't really remember, but I'm really excited about this. And then second to last book that I have for this first bookstore trip is The 13th Child by Aaron A. Craig, and I kind of had it on my radar, but I feel like I had kind of decided to wait until it went to paperback before I got it, until I saw this Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of it, specifically these metallic gold foiled edges. Are these not the prettiest freaking edges you've ever seen? Don't get me wrong, I love stuff like this as well, but metallic will always win in my book. I don't know what it is, but I love a shiny thing. We also do have some really cool end papers, and then also the hardcover is to absolutely die for. Is this not the coolest freaking cover you've ever seen? But then also I feel like the spine is really cool as well. It kind of reminds me of like books that you see in ancient libraries and movies. So this is just super neat. I am so excited about this book. Hazel has always known she wasn't like her siblings, a 13th child, promised to one of the gods. She spends her childhood waiting for her benefactor, Merrick, the god of death, to arrive and take her away. When he does, he lays out exactly what he's planned for Hazel's future. She will become a great and celebrated healer. To aid her endeavor, Merrick blesses Hazel with a gift, the ability to instantly deduce the exact cure needed to treat the sick. But all gifts come with a price. Hazel can see when death has claimed a patient and is tasked with ending their suffering permanently. In a way, it's good that they're like ending their suffering, but like, what a shitty job, you know? And then it says, haunted by the ghosts of those she's killed, Hazel longs to run, but destiny brings her to the royal court where she meets Leopold, a rakish prince with a disdain for everyone and everything. And that's where Hazel faces her biggest dilemma yet. Should she save the life of a king marked to die? Hazel knows what she's meant to do and what her heart is urging her towards, but what will happen if she goes against death himself? That sounds so good, and I am so excited for this. And then the very last one that we got on this trip was very unplanned. As a matter of fact, I even like purchased all of those things. We were done shopping, but we went to the cafe to pick up a coffee, and that is where I found this guy. I think it's like every month Barnes & Noble does like a special $5 book, but this is the first one that I've seen that got me like really excited. This is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I cannot believe I got this book for freaking $5. I've been kind of going back and forth on whether or not to get this book for the longest time, basically since I read The Kingdom of the Wicked, which is by the same author. I absolutely loved that series. I've talked about it so much on this channel. And when I found out that she had written this book, I was kind of interested in getting it, but it kind of seemed from like comments from you guys that people that loved this book didn't necessarily love Kingdom of the Wicked, and kind of like vice versa. Like people that loved the other series didn't seem to like really love this one. So because I am obsessed with Kingdom of the Wicked, I was kind of worried that I wouldn't like this. And then on top of that, I didn't really love the cover of the book. This cover, however, apparently this series is getting new covers, which I didn't realize actually that this was a series. So I'm definitely excited. I think they're all about different like notorious serial killers. So crossing my fingers, I end up liking this because the series again as a whole does sound kind of cool. So it says, he murdered women in cold blood, he terrorized an entire city, he taunted those of us who hunted him down. But despite all those horrors, in the end, I could not deny it. I was the girl who loved Stalking the Ripper. Very, very intrigued by this. So those are all the books that I got on my first bookstore trip. Now let's get into our second one. I definitely ended this book ban with a bang. I did only get 3 books on our second trip, but they're all books that I've literally never heard of before. I kind of was just browsing just to, honestly, I didn't even go with the intent of getting any books. I literally just went because I was in a bad mood and I wanted to cheer myself up. But of course, we did end up finding 3 different books. The first one that I picked up, again, have never seen before, but the cover just looks so fun. But it's called Spellbound by F.T. Lukens, which is also an author that I've never heard of. So I'm like super intrigued by this book, but here's the cover. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it, but the entire thing is like metallic and shiny and so cool. Even the back, the synopsis is on this like shiny green, and it's got like a little cat here. Yeah, everything about this cover was like screaming at me to get. So let's see what this one's about. Mystery, magic, and mega cute. Rivals to lovers vibes. Edison Rooker isn't sure what to expect when he enters the office of Antonia Hex, the powerful sorceress who runs a call center for magical emergencies. He doesn't have much experience with hexes or curses. He doesn't even have magic, but he does have a plan to regain access to the magical world that he lost when his grandmother passed. Antonia is ... intimidating, but she gives him a job and a new name, Rook, both of which he's happy to accept. Now all Rook has to do is keep his spellbinder, an illegal magical detection device, hidden from the magical consortium, and contend with Sun, the grumpy and annoyingly cute apprentice to Antonia's rival colleague, Fable. But dealing with their competition isn't so bad. Sun seems to pop up more and more, and Rook seems to mind less and less. But when the consortium gets wind of Rook's spellbinder, they come for Antonia. All alone, Rook runs to the only other magical person he knows, Sun. Except Fable has also been attacked, and now Rook and Sun have no choice but to work together to get their mentors back, or face losing their magic forever. Basically, I think this is about 2 rivals who have both lost their mentors, and they have to work together to get them back. I think it'll be a cute, like, fun read, so very excited about it. And just in general, excited to add such a cool cover to my little book collection. Second to last book, we have Silver in the Bone by somebody, Alexandra Bracken. This was on the same table that this book was on. Basically, there was like a little table, it was like the smallest one on display in this Barnes & Noble, but I literally wanted every single book on it. I had to refrain and just get the 2, but it had so many good books. Like, I really want to go back again and get more. I don't think it's a good idea for me to be on a book buying ban, because then it just makes me want to buy even more books. Not only did I get all of these books, but I also ordered a bunch online because Amazon was having a sale. That's kind of what officially broke my ban, and then I just went wild at the bookstore. Anyway, we have Silver in the Bone. There's a quote at the top of this that says, "A deadly race, a life-changing prize, 2 rivals forced to work together, a new legend will rise." I've said it about 1,000 times on this channel, but I love any kind of like fantasy competition, trial to the death usually is my favorite. Like, I love that kind of thing, and this sounds like it's gonna have that. Also though, it does say at the bottom, don't miss the stunning series conclusion, The Mirror of Beasts. So is this not the first book in this series? Where's my phone? Okay, we're good. It's just a duology. It says 2 books. And the first one is this one. So, okay. Anyway, this one says, Tamsin Lark is an outcast among outcasts, raiding the tombs of sorceresses for treasures she can sell to Eke? E-K-E? Have never seen that word before. Out a living. When rumors swirl about a legendary ring that could change her life and break her brother's curse, she embarks on a deadly race to find it. But she's not the only one who covets the ring. As the competition heats up, Tamsin is forced to partner with her rival, Emrys. Rich, handsome, and charming to a fault, Emrys is everything Tamsin is not, but can she trust him? Together they journey from modern-day Boston to the ruins of Avalon, where a secret is waiting to be exposed, awakening ghosts of the past and threatening to shatter all that Tamsin holds dear. This sounds good. I'm excited for it. And also, again, we have like a really stunning cover. Usually I don't like covers with like people or just characters in general on them, but I feel like the artwork of this just looks so cool, and I kind of like having the visual for the characters, because in my head, if I don't see a picture of a character, they all look the same to me. Even when I read the description of someone, they still kind of look vaguely the same as every other character. Like, it's so hard for me. Like, I'll read a character and I'll kind of have an image of what I think they look like, and then the book will be like, her red hair was flowing, and I'm like, no, it's not. And now, last but not least, for our bookstore books, we do also still have our package to go through. But for our bookstore books, the very last one that we have is very random. The only reason I got it was because of the way the book looks. Sometimes that can really backfire, but I think this one will be really cool. And this is one of those books that, even though it was a little bit of an investment, like, I typically, if I don't know if I'm gonna like a book, I will never spend $30 on it, but this one I did because it just looks so cool, like the whole book and the concept behind it, that like, even if I don't love it, I'm still gonna be excited to have it in my library. Pride and Prejudice in Space by Alexis Lampley. As the title suggests, this is, I'm going to assume, a Pride and Prejudice kind of like retelling, but in space. And I've never actually read Pride and Prejudice. I've watched the movie like a long time ago. I don't really remember it, but I kind of have like a vague idea of what the story is. And it's gonna be, I guess, the same thing in space. So I'm excited. And this freaking cover is just the coolest thing, but also too just the fact that this is actually the hardcover and not a dust jacket. Like I said earlier, I love a printed hardcover, and this one is just, again, so pretty. Here's what the spine looks like, and here's what the back of the cover looks like. The inside of the book also is really neat. First of all the pages are like glossy and shiny. It kind of reminds me of like a textbook. It even smells like a textbook. And honestly, the inside gives very much textbook vibes, but that's kind of what's intrigued me. So we have stuff like this, like pictures of, you know, this is like a graph of some sort. And then this page, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it because of the glare, but it's got like solar system-y things. And then pages like this where you've got like a full color page, but it's got like, I'm assuming like an explanation of something. It says Observations by Mary Bennett. And it's like a personal journal entry. And then we have like our normal text. So I don't know. This also, like pages like this, like that looks like a textbook. I'm just so intrigued by the layout of this book. And I don't feel like it's gonna be too hard to get through because it is kind of chunky, but like the words are pretty big and spaced out. Then we have like cool illustrations and stuff. Like this book has so much cool stuff in it. Actually, you know what? I wonder if this is actually supposed to look like a textbook, because we have another page that looks like a textbook. How many times can I say that word? But it's got like notes written down in it as well. Yeah, so intrigued by this. I'm gonna have to read this like ASAP. So those are all of the books that I got from the bookstore. Now let's go ahead and dig into this box. I'm just so excited, and I wanted to take the opportunity to open this on camera so that, I mean, I've already opened it, but you know, go through this stuff with you guys on camera. To also thank the person that sent this to me. Thank you so much for doing this. Like, I can't even express how much I appreciate this package. But basically they sent me a book that I had mentioned in, I think, my last video. We have, oh, there's some peanuts in there. Everything, by the way, was packaged super securely, so everything got here safe. But they gifted me Quicksilver, the indie edition of Quicksilver. Like I just said, I mentioned this book in my last video, saying that I wanted to get it after I had read it on my Kindle, but the indie edition wasn't available on Amazon anymore. But now I have it, and I am so stinking excited. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate this. This is so cool and so thoughtful and sweet, and yeah, I don't know, my mind is blown, and I'm so excited to add this to my library. But also, they got me a really cool candle as well. So this one is called Vampire Blood, which, how perfect is that? I feel like I've been talking about vampires so much recently. But the jar of this looks so cool as well. It's got like spiders and little like holographic bits, and the lid to this looks really cool. And it's got a skull at the top. How fun is this? And it actually smells so good. I am insanely picky when it comes to scents. So sending anything with a scent in it is risky business. I like candy scents, I like citrusy scents, and I love coconut. Coconut is like my favorite scent. It smells kind of reminiscent of something that I've smelled at Lush, but I can't pinpoint what that is specifically. But it smells so good. It's very sweet, very candy-esque, but with like a little bit of something else to it. It's red berries, night blooming jasmine, and petrifying plum. So yeah, it's got like kind of like a fruity, but like in a candy kind of way, kind of smell. But anyway, this one's really good. I really like it. Thank you so much for my candle and my book, and I will be scrapbooking this picture and this note. The fact that any of you care enough to like send me something is absolutely crazy to me, and I am so grateful and mind blown. Which, actually, speaking of, if you guys ever send me anything and you have an Instagram, leave your Instagram handle in like the letter or something so that I can like reach out to you. Anyway, those are all of the books and little goodies that I've gotten in the past couple of weeks. With that is everything that I have to say. I hope you guys have had the most amazing of days, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!